Okay, so dear Dhamma practitioners, be comfortable yourself and relax your body. Keep your back straight, neck head straight in one line, and your right palm on your left. So gently close your eyes and bring your attention to this bell sound. And while you're focusing to the sound, mentally relax your body, relax your mind, and relax your breathing with your thoughts. So do nothing extra. Just follow the sound, please. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Homage to the Blessed One, the Exalted One, the fully enlightened One. So, dear Dhamma practitioners, before we start our practice session, as usual, we'll take a few minutes to understand how this meditation can help for us to develop our spiritual life. So when it comes to our spiritual life, it is very important to understand the mechanism and how it can bring the development to us. Because it is not just the practice. Practice is a part of it. While you're practicing, you should have an understanding, and you should bring that understanding to practice. And by practicing, you have to bring the change or the development to yourself. So this very purpose of this all, not keep practicing. So you have to build up, you have to bring the transformation every day. So when it comes to that transformation, change is the major important thing. That change should happen inside with our point of view. Because most of the time, our point of view depends on the self-centered mind. So once you have the self-centered mind, you're going to define the life according to the way you feel. But the way you feel sometimes has a deeper relationship with the habits. And the feelings may be mostly, even we can't sometimes, we can't get into the real feelings, because on the top of the feelings, sometimes the emotions bring certain kind of information to us. So then we can't see the feelings. Sometimes we caught up with the emotions and we take the emotions as feelings. And then once we validate the emotions as feelings, and out of the emotions that what we understand and bring us to the reactions. So it is a totally different way of behavior. When you get out of the emotions and understanding the clarity, when you develop the clarity to see how things come to be as they are, and when you come to that kind of reactions, it's totally different. But when you base with the emotions, what happens? So you always go with the greed, hatred, and the delusion, 3 poisons. It mainly brings us more difficulties to ourselves. And it not allow us to grow. It not allow us to have the change inside us. So that's why the purification of the mind itself means get out of these three poisons, or the greed, hatred, or the delusion. So then in the beginning, you have to see that yourself, the way your mind behaves. So by using the same thoughts, you can't do it. So that's why we need a primary mental object, and we settle down with that. And as a result of that, what happened, you slowly detach from the emotions, and then you are capable to get into the feelings. And even when it comes to the feelings, on the surface level of feelings, not exactly the feelings that's there. Because sometimes on the surface level of feelings, that we can't recognize clearly, because it depends according to the condition of the mind also. So as example, if you have a very lazy, very sleepy mind, in that very moment, what you recognize is going to be different. So then you have to work with the both way, and you have to at the same time should know the very condition of the mind, the observer, and at the same time, the object that you follow or the recognize, or the sensation or the feelings, you have to see that also. This, when you are capable to bring this both together, your recognition going to become more sharp and clear, accurate. And you don't make mistake out of it. But in day-to-day life, mostly we don't have that capacity. So, and then as a result of that, what happened? By misunderstanding, we're going to define the life. So that's why, as example, if I bring to you that most of time people try to explain the life or the understand the life according to the things they don't like. You know, sometimes we say, oh, I don't like this. I don't like this. I'm not that kind of person. So like that, we define our life, we understand our life, we explain our life, we share our life through the things which we don't like. From where it comes? When you don't like something, mean what? That there is a very deeper resistance that you already develop. When you are in the resistance, there is a struggle. You detach from the very reality of life. So once you detach from the reality of life, how are you going to define the life? That's the fair question that you have to ask yourself. And then the other thing is that if you have the desire, oh, I like this, I like that. So in that way, completely 100% through the desires that, or the goals or the intentions, especially with the self-centered intentions, when we try to define the life, that also not going to become right. So then you have to bring the balance. So that balance, it's kind of like one way is the behavior and belief. So that is the one thing that you have to build up the bridge in between the behavior and belief. Another one is that imagination and the reality. Because the imagination is that as ordinary people, we live with the imagination. But what happened to us is our reality. So what you imagine may be not going to happen to you. But out of what happened to you, you build up your imagination. But how about if you are capable to bring the imagination and the reality and build up a bridge, behavior, and our lifestyle itself may be totally different, and maybe our believing is totally far away from something. But how about if you are capable to build up a bridge in between behavior and belief? So the belief come out of the faith, conviction. So that is a very foundation or the roots of the spiritual development. We all need something like that. If you come to a point and say, I don't believe something, so it's good. But if you should, somehow you have to anchor to some kind of spiritual practice. So if you don't believe that, just believing doesn't work. But we have to understand, in the very conventional life in the beginning, we have to come to a point. If you don't believe the path, how are you going to walk? How are you going to practice? So why you sit like this? But still, if you don't do that and just keep believing it, it doesn't work. But once you have some kind of conviction, faith, so then you start to practice, and by practicing, you start to understand. So this both need to balance. And when you balance it, you can't do everything. It's like using pharmaceutical products. Sometimes, when you take some certain kind of medicine, the doctors mention, so you should not take this kind of food. And maybe it say, don't take it. And if you drive, so because sometimes you feel sleepy after you take it. And so you should drink this much water. And maybe you have to take this with food. So like that, there's something. It is not only one thing that you do. There are some other things will help you to maximize and get the best out of your practice. So the same thing with your mental practice also. So that's why the conviction is a key point. While you're practicing, just practice itself doesn't work. Why you practice? Out of practice, what do you want? You have to question and you have to look into yourself and see. And that from where it comes. Because if it is come from the greed, hatred, and the anger and the jealousy, ignorance, that kind of way, it always takes you to that kind of nature. So then it should come kind of like away from the wisdom. It should come kind of like a way through some kind of clarity and understanding. So that's why listening is a very important part, because listening will allow you to have that quality. Develop that clarity in you. So it will help you to not to bound to yourself, but to put your effort to practice. So without holding to yourself, once you come to practice, that is where your development going to happen. So otherwise, you always hold it to as who you are. And if you try to keep practice, maybe you feel for the moment something, but it's you keep going round and round at the same place. So then while you practice, you remember, don't hold anything. But still, you have to bring your effort to practice. So for that, you need the energy, that you need the trust, conviction. And so that way, your imagination and your reality start to build because the reality means what's the moment of experience. So that is, we start to build up a connection. So that connection itself take you forward. When you go forward like that way, what happened? There's a deeper resistance, turbulence happen inside you, unrest happen inside you with your own patterns. So if you look very carefully to your own life, you will see there are certain patterns in you. And most of the time, unknowingly, unconsciously, that pattern we interpret as ourselves. I am. But it is a pattern. It is not you. to recognize that you have to have a deeper, very clear, sharp mind. So without practicing that, to observe, and without developing that sharpness, how you can see. So that's why the meditation is a method, develop that sharpness. So for that, in the beginning, you have to have the physical balance. That is where we build up the posture. We come with the posture. So once you settle down with the posture, allow that everything to settle down as it is. And learn to accept it. At least physically, try to accept it. And that acceptance bring openness to yourself. And then then later you can slowly correct it. But in the beginning, you have to accept the posture. So once you settle down with the posture, you bring your attention to your primary mental object in front of your nose and your upper lip area. And then you deeply observe your inhalation, exhalation without interfering to it, without having any kind of opinion or mental conversation yourself. Just allow and observe it and recognize it. So once you start to observe that, by the time what will happen, that what you see as inhalation or exhalation, by the time it will take you more deeper. It is just not only the sensation there. So the sensation arises as a result of something. So then you go deeper and deeper and deeper, then you recognize this everything you experience as a result of change. So once you see that, you become more careful. Why? Because you see that everything change. As a result of change, you experience a result. So then you're not bound to the result. Why? Because you see how the change happens. And then rather than to the surface level, then you move into the behind it and you see the change. And then you will see there is no moment to settle down. It's always changing. And that itself bring the understanding to see this unsatisfactory nature. Because our mind always into something. And because of that, the whole nerve system, that all this neurons wiring and firing, it's kind of like a thunderbolt into something. And it doesn't understand how to rest. So, but now you see this change always happen, and it help you to little bit move back, and that gap bring the ability to rest, not to look into something, not to go into something, and to complete surrender. 100% you accept the moment. And that is where you experience the real life, because that is what happened to you is your life. Not what you want, or not what you like, or not what you don't like. Now you come to the point, but on the surface level, as I mentioned from the beginning, otherwise we define the life, oh, I don't like this, or I like it. But now you come to the point, you experience the life according to what happened to you. That is a totally different way of understanding. So once you see that, that will take you more deeper. Why it happened? Then you see the causation. And in the depth of that causation, you recognize there is no kind of like a self-centered activity. It's that all activities happen according to the cause and effect. That is where you get out of the self-centered mind or the self-centered idea. So this is a step-by-step process, but that purification comes out of the deeper understanding and clarity. So you have to get into that by practicing yourself. So little by little, little by little. It is not by imagination, not through by the kind of like an intellectual way of understanding. That is very necessary in the conventional level. But remember, there is a totally different way of understanding come to you through the experience. So that is where we keep going. So then you have to be patient and at the same time bring your effort knowingly that you are the one who going to get the benefit out of this. So then you have to give your best for that. It's a moment by moment process. Even though we have a goal, but in this very moment, what you have to do, you have to be very sharp and clear with that. So in that very moment, what you need to do, just observe the sensation. So recognize it, be 100% clear with that. And that is where that you get out of this disturbed mind and you develop the undisturbed mind, the clarity, tranquility state. So out of that, you can go deeper into vipassana level and see how things come to be as they are. And that is where deeply you get into the detachment, but total moment of experience. So with that, let's get into practice a little bit now. So your right palm on your left and neck head straight in one line and be comfortable with your posture. So bring your attention to your body and scan head to toes yourself and say Supatveva, or may I be well and happy 3 times. Take a moment and think. We gathered here in this moment to practice this ancient meditation technique. All the Buddhas, all the enlightened masters followed this path and achieved wisdom. So we also gathered here to accumulate that knowledge. In this moment with this sitting, may my body become more comfortable. May my breath be more smooth. May no difficulties come to me. May all the success come to me. Also think for a moment. This is the last moment we are spending in this very lifetime. And detach your mind from all your past memories and as well as any kind of future thoughts. Just try to remain in the present moment, observing the sensation of your inhalations and exhalations. So in the beginning, deeply and gently, breathe in, breathe out 3 times and find the sensation, please. And allow your inhalations, exhalations happen itself. And when it happens through the sensation, recognize it. Do nothing extra. Bring your attention to your body, please. Observe your posture. We cultivate loving kindness and compassion in our heart and radiate it as a light through entire your compound, village, city, state, country, world, around this universe. Also as far as we can through galaxies, other planets, stars. Reminding yourself like this. With clear intention, mentally repeat after me. May all living beings in this universe be well and happy. May everyone be happy and safe. And may their hearts be filled with joy. May all living beings live in security and in peace. Beings who are frail or strong, tall or short, big or small, visible or not visible, near or far away. Already born or yet to be born. May all of them dwell in perfect tranquility. Let no one do harm to anyone. Let no one put the life of anyone in danger. Let no one out of anger or ill will wish anyone any harm. Expand the loving kindness and compassion beginning from your heart. Forward. Visualize yourself and send it as a light. To your backside. To your left side. And to your right side. Downward. And upward. To all six directions at once. Like the moon, the sun, spread the light, spread the energy, without any condition, without any limitation, without any resistance or without any judgment. Let your heart to shine with the loving kindness and compassion from the bottom of it, with the maximum effort to the highest. Wishing yourself, may all living beings in this universe Be well and happy. Say sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. So first of all, we offer this practice to the great qualities of the Buddha, Dhamma and the Sangha. And also by the power of this meritorious deed, may all of us attain to the supreme bliss of Nibbana. May all your guardian angels and deities will receive these merits and increase their longevity and protect all of you from any kind of planetary influences or any ill effects. Ittavata cha ammi sampadam punya sampadam sabbe deva anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya sabbe bhuta anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya sabbe satta anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya imaya dhammanu dhamma patipattiya buddham pujemi dhammam pujemi sangham pujemi Addaya imaya patipattiya jati jara vyadi maranam paribunjissami idamme punya kammang asavakkaya vahang hotu sabba dukkha pamunchatu. Bless you.